Even though the Voyager 1 spacecraft was only intended to last 5 years when it was launched by NASA 45 years ago, it is currently traversing previously unexplored regions of the cosmos. But now that this storied spacecraft is beginning to send some odd data back to NASA, many of the top scientists at that organization are baffled. We'll be looking at some of the odd data that the Voyager 1 spacecraft is sending out today. NASA launched the Voyager 2 spacecraft in August 1977 to orbit Jupiter, Saturn, and then Uranus and Neptune. This marked the beginning of the Voyager program. Voyager 1's twin spacecraft, Voyager 2, was launched a few days after Voyager 2. The most crucial aspect of this entire endeavor was launching both of these spacecraft at precisely the same time. They were virtually similar, weighed approximately the same as a compact car, and were nearly equal in size. A rare window of opportunity that NASA noticed in 1977 when the target planets were advantageously aligned for effective exploration. Each spaceship was able to travel between planets during this time without deviating too far from its intended course. However, NASA added the 16-day separation on purpose so that the two would follow somewhat different paths. Due to this, although it was launched later, Voyager 1 passed its twin in December 1977, just a few months after its first launch. Since its launch, Voyager 1 has grown to be one of NASA's most important resources for generating innovative and fascinating discoveries in space. When Voyager 1 reached around 265 million kilometers from Earth in 1978, it first began transmitting Jovian photos back to Earth. After a year, the spacecraft spent more than 100 hours taking over 4,000 pictures of Jupiter, which helped us produce the first time-lapse video to ever highlight the gas giant's rotation, and a month later it became the first spacecraft to find 2 new moons in addition to Jupiter's ring. In order to avoid colliding with one of Saturn's largest moons, it had to slightly alter its course as it approached the planet Saturn on its subsequent journey. Titan found 4 moons while Voyager 1 was in orbit around Saturn, and it sent a ton of pictures of the ringed planet back to NASA. At this point, NASA decided that the Voyager 1 mission should come to an end. The Voyager 2 would then start its ascent to the ice giants of Uranus and Neptune, becoming the first spacecraft to do so, while the Voyager 1 would set out on its trek to the farthest reaches of the solar system. In 1990, the Voyager interstellar mission was launched at a distance of almost 6 billion kilometers from the Sun. Voyager 1 captured the first-ever family snapshot of the solar system by sending back breathtaking photographs of a variety of different planets. After the spacecraft had captured more than 67,000 photos by this point, NASA was no longer in need of its cameras. NASA then turned off its camera systems. The Pioneer 10 spacecraft, launched by NASA in 1972, was passed by the Voyager 1 spacecraft in 1998 at a distance of 10.3 billion kilometers from the Sun. The Pioneer 10 had been the farthest man-made object from Earth up to that moment, but now the Voyager 1 had that distinction. As it advanced towards interstellar space, it extended its lead by quite a distance. His cameras were off by this time, but NASA still had a number of tools to talk to the spaceship. Voyager 1 successfully left the solar system in 2012 and entered interstellar space, but NASA did not make the achievement public until 2013. Its companion ship, the Voyager 2, wouldn't exit the solar system until 2018, although it was currently traveling away from the Sun at a speed of 61,197 kilometers per hour. In that year, Voyager 1 had traveled 14.5 billion kilometers from the Sun, and it was still sending NASA signals that were revealing more and more information about the solar system's interior and outer regions. Voyager 1 is now beginning to transmit some odd signals back to NASA as a result of certain coordination issues. Even some of the world's greatest scientists are having difficulty deciphering the majority of these signals, and it appears that the spacecraft itself is unsure of its precise location. Despite the conflicting signals, the particular alert that is pre-programmed to send to NASA in the event that it ever gets lost in space has not yet been activated. Additionally, Voyager 1's antenna appears to be in poor condition, although it still regularly communicates with NASA. Voyager 1 is still able to receive commands from Earth and carry them out in interstellar space. However, NASA is now less certain about the reports the antenna is sending. The fact that the spacecraft was created in the 1970s is proof of how advanced NASA's technology has always been. Despite all of this, NASA is of the opinion that Voyager 1's signals do not accurately reflect what is actually occurring on board the spacecraft. You could be wondering what's actually going on aboard. In any case, NASA outfits each of its spacecraft with a uniquely created gold-plated disc. In the unlikely event that it ever makes contact with an alien, this disc contains unique voice and visual messages. Over 35 Earth-specific sounds, pictures of daily life on our planet, over an hour of Western pop music, and greetings from numerous former US presidents that have been translated into 55 different languages so that the aliens have a better chance of understanding some of them are among the contents of the disc. NASA researchers, however, have disputed suggestions that the spacecraft might be commanded by extraterrestrial life as of 2022. There are many safety features on Voyager 1 that would be engaged if the spaceship were ever in danger, but none of those features have ever been used. Additionally, Voyager 1's antenna is still pointed toward Earth. Despite everything being in working order, the unusual signals that Voyager 1 is sending are even more puzzling. Why is the spaceship now sending these signals while it is so distant from the Earth when it has never sent them previously, even when it was in the same condition? Something going on, but in general, the Voyager mission project manager for NASA says this is normal for a spacecraft as elderly as Voyager 1. It has been in orbit for nearly 45 years and has reached a record distance from the Sun of 23.6 billion kilometers, or around 157.9 astronomical units. As the spacecraft becomes more trustworthy, our ability to communicate with it will become less trustworthy. A further issue is that Voyager 1 cannot be repaired in a trustworthy manner. It is technically and logistically impossible for NASA to build a spaceship that can reach Voyager 1's precise location in interstellar space in time to perform a rescue mission in the event that something goes wrong. Messages typically take 2 days to travel from NASA's communication station to the spacecraft, making two-way contact far slower than it once was. As a result, there is a significantly increased danger of crashes and mishaps, and NASA's team may find it difficult to effectively communicate in an emergency. Despite all of this, NASA is still optimistic that it will be able to resolve Voyager 1's current issues. Given how far away the spacecraft is from Earth, it anticipates that it will keep delivering more and more data about interstellar space back to the planet. The Earth makes every communication, no matter how sluggish and unreliable, highly vital for NASA. NASA is now testing the capabilities of its previous and current spacecraft using this spacecraft. All upcoming space missions the space agency conducts will require the use of this data. Every day that passes increases the likelihood that an accident will abruptly end the voyage before Voyager 1 is no longer able to communicate with us here on Earth. It has so far outlasted the circumstances that surrounded it.